Michigan's the home of 5 college football programs, but the state's second largest city, Grand Rapids, doesn't have a team. However, Hulu saw an opportunity in this city, and after investing $86 million into starting a school, Grand Rapids University was born. Hulu wants to exclusively document the school's come up, kind of like a college version of Hard Knocks, and with their funding, GRU brought in a great head coach as Andrew Luck has returned to the game of football. As a Colts fan, I'm sure he's going to focus on recruiting offensive linemen, and recently a mastodon skeleton was accidentally found in Grand Rapids, so that quickly became the college's official mascot, but as of now only 569 students are enrolled, so our stadium, Hulu Field, will be empty for a while. Each episode will be me playing through the entire season, and GRU was fortunate enough to be invited to join the MAC alongside the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, but this team is starting as a 50 overall, and besides having Andrew Luck as our head coach, whose only experience is as a high school assistant, nothing about Grand Rapids University is very good. Less than an hour down the road from us is Western Michigan. Our biggest rivals will face in the war on Route 131 every year, and for settings, I did what I pretty much always do, but I did find some of the hardest sliders in NCAA football, so that's going to make this series even more difficult because we are starting from the absolute bottom, and you might as well meet the roster now. Standing tall at 5'9", our starting quarterback is senior Terrence Dogan, and he's got an abysmal 62 throw accuracy, so we could resort to giving Rashawn Canty or Zach Keys a shot, and our running back room has to be our best position group. Junior Braden Nico might only reach 5'7" in height, but this guy is quick and he can make anybody miss, while sophomore Andrew Carty behind him has the same build. Now our wide receiving core is extremely depleted, and the tallest player in it is senior Zach Archie at 6 feet tall, so you can see that we are undersized almost everywhere, and guys like junior Kyle Morton only have 75 speed. Martin Massey has 80, but he'll only be with us for a year, and now we've gotten to the final and best player in this group, Matt Land. The sophomore might be 5'9", but he's a 63 overall with 86 speed, and we're just going to act like he has good route running and catching. Because our wide receivers are so rough, junior tight end Steve Winchester could see a lot of targets if he had more than 71 speed, and senior Carl Bunch will also be fighting for some looks. As I scroll through the offensive line, you'll notice that we probably won't have more than 2 seconds to throw the ball, so our defense has to be good where we're running a 3-4, and that all starts with sophomore John Micah Hackett getting in some pressure. The defensive tackle is the best we have on our defensive line, as Hunter Harbin is only a 60 overall, and left end Chase Southright is 5'11" and a 59 overall, so you would think that our linebacker room would have to be better, but the more I look at it, the worse I feel about it, because nobody in that group stands out either, besides sophomore Jeremiah Wayne, who will be the guy I use her. His stats might look rough, but he has 84 hit power, and only one of our cornerbacks will be able to do much for us. Brett Cook might get mossed a ton at 5'9", but his 86 speed allows him to keep up with the opposing team decently well, and the highest overall on our defense is junior free safety Ladarius Pascal. The issue we keep running into is everybody is pretty short, but our strong safety Scooby Duckworth is 6'3", so that's awesome, and I don't even want to talk about our special teams. Kicker Garrett Saffold can throw the ball better than he can kick, and our punter has the leg strength of a middle school soccer player. In the end, it's clear that we're starting from rock bottom, which is why recruiting is so important. However, we have some restrictions as a smaller program, so until we make a bowl game, we can only go after 3-star recruits or worse, and they have to be from either Michigan, Ohio, or Indiana, the states closest to us. Team needs might not say it, but we need to replace almost every position, and JUCO Ben Fowler is legitimately one of the best players I've ever seen. He has 98 speed with amazing running and defensive abilities, so if there's anybody that we're going to target the most, it's him, and Andrew Luck found a couple of offensive linemen that he likes. At corner, there's a Michigan native who stands at 6'2", and there's another one that would be a super nice addition, but we could also really use quarterback Ryan Pace, and I have no idea how many of these players we're going to actually stand a chance at getting, but I'm hoping for the best, especially with Carlos Castillo. Obviously, as a new FBS program, we're supposed to be the worst team in the country, and our 4-year outlook is pretty grim, so we might not win a single game this season, but we play our biggest rivals in an FCS school pretty early on. Before that, though, we have to travel an hour to Michigan State, and you all might as well get a better look at how some of these uniform combinations turned out, which I am very happy about. We have a GRU helmet, a Mastodon helmet, and a helmet with a tusk on it, and I'm hoping that we don't get blown out too bad, but it's most likely going to happen here on the road. Winning the toss is the only thing we might win all season, so we get to start the game on defense, and it looks like they're going with a run where this is already getting a first down. My only goal in this season video is to get a win with this team, but I don't know if that's going to happen as Berger just took that one to the crib. I don't think Cook's going to be able to make the tackle. What a play. And that is not the start that you want to see. Maybe we can get things going offensively. Braden Nico's going to take this handoff, and he seems so slow, but he's one of our quickest players, so I want to keep feeding him the ball, and we're being forced to pass it on 3rd down where I might just try to take this slant underneath, but it's intercepted instead. The Spartans have the ball back again. I'm used to playing on Heisman because that's all I do, but I've never used sliders like this. We're not going to make the tackle with our 5'8" safety, and I don't know what I have signed up for with this team, but we might have a long way to go in this rebuild. We're getting a few yards though, and I'm going to take that as a success. My original goal was we were going to be a run-heavy team with this running back, and Nico gets a few here, but with how slow he's running, I feel like we have to pass it, and we're going to go for a 7-yard gain here, so our drive's going to stay alive, and we we have to go with the fullback dive. Zach McKnight, our fullback, picked it up, and I don't see us using him too much, but I want to score a touchdown in this game. So even if we don't come close to winning this game, that is going to be our first goal, and we're going to take this one to Martin Massey, who breaks a tackle, and he just lost the football. Michigan picked it up. I hope the refs overturn this and get it back to us. But as he's going down, it looks like the ball just slipped out of his hands, and I don't know how the play was reversed, but I'll take it where it is 3rd and 4, and that one is going to Nico for the first. To be honest, Terrence Dogan hasn't looked that rough so far, besides starting with the interception, of course. Now we're going to pass it on 2nd and 10, and he didn't hit his target. We are a long way from field goal range, so we need to pick up at least a few on this one. But 89 just took on a double team from our offensive lineman and still was able to get through. I'm already ready to start our next game against Drake, which is an FCS school where we should have a better chance. This punt isn't going to go where it needs to be. Michigan's going to take the return and get to about the 40, but the ref is bringing it back with a clipping call, and I'm not sure what type of coverage to run because no matter what, I think they're going to cook us. Mosley's going to come away with this ball and throw our corner off of him. We need to make that tackle there. Come on, catch him. This isn't a great look for senior Mike Mountain, but middle linebacker Jeremiah Wayne came out of nowhere to bring him down, and I would love if we could just get the Spartans off of the field once, which is a real possibility after that hit from Jeremiah Wayne, and we are not going to get to that ball. That's unfortunate. They're also breaking the tackle. Can we please just stop them? These sliders are going to make my life miserable, but I'm super excited to get this series going. I've been wanting to for a while, and we're still trying to get the run going with Braden Nico, as this is his longest rush yet. He's starting to get a little bit more comfortable back there. Now we're going to get a toss to the outside, and he'll get another few, but Michigan State would get us to a 3rd and 12 where we're going to try to pick it up over the middle, and it's intercepted instead. Zach Archie, our biggest wide receiver, gave up his inside leverage for whatever reason, and it's probably going to lead to another touchdown for Michigan State where they hit us with the play action, and you can tell that all of our coverage stats on our defenders are just terrible. I haven't tried to run yet with Terrence Dogan, so maybe that could help us. We are going to pick up this 3rd and 10 to Archie, and running the ball isn't going to work, so we're going to try to pass it with Matt Land coming away with his first catch. We have more first downs than the Spartans, but we're losing 28-0, which is embarrassing, and I just want to put some points on the board. We're going to hit him with the read option where Terrence Dogan's going to keep it. This is going to be our biggest rush of the day, and I love that we're starting to compete with the Spartans, but we have to finish this drive, and I'm going to look for the slant on the left side of the field, but Archie cannot hold on to it. Then we had a player commit a false start, so it is 3rd and 11, and on the goal line, we're going to throw it to him again, but this time Zach Archie held onto the ball, and yes, we're going to be setting school records for a very long time. It's our first game as a program, so I'm happy with the fact that going into the half, we're only down by 21 if we can make a tackle, which we're going to do, but at this point, you all can tell that this one's pretty much over, so there's no point in me making you all sit through the rest of it unless we can score a touchdown on this drive where we've moved decently down the field, but that was a very rough sack for Terrence Dogan to take, and I think Michigan's defense decided to start trying because we haven't had much luck here, but that ball was put perfectly on the money, and tight end Steve Winchester did a great job of securing it. I know things looked rough from the beginning, but now I'm starting to have more hope for this season, and of course this is when they're going to get a big play. Berger's going to break another tackle. Come on, boys, tackle him. We're even going to get hit with a face mask to give them more yards, and that would lead to another Michigan State touchdown, so no matter what I do, I think we're going to lose this game, but I'm very happy with how the offense has started to look a lot better, and on this drag, we're not getting it off in time. In the end, we'd lose by 27, but we did a lot better than I thought we would. We just have to make one final tackle to end the game on Michigan State, and this is a rivalry that we're not going to win for a long time, but I think Grand Rapids fans can be happy with the fight we put up, because even though we gave up 239 rushing yards to Jalen Berger, we proved that we could pass the ball even with backup Zach Keys, and I thought that game went well, but apparently my athletic director thinks we need to be ready for the press. I'm not sure how in one matchup we got 3 coach upgrades, but I'm very thankful for it, because that'll help us pursue after other players, especially since there's a few we're not going to be able to get just because we're already losing the battle, and I might seem bummed out, but I'm not, because after revising my board, there's over 15 players that we're now going after, and that includes 70 overall pass rusher Brett Patterson, who I've scouted and watched get to the quarterback within seconds, and one of our assistants watched Steven Arrington put up fantastic numbers, but the most important thing is we have a lead for Carlos Castillo, Ben Fowler, and Ryan Pace, so our offense could take a huge step up next year, and if we're ever going to compete in the MAC, we're going to need that. NCAA Football says that this next matchup's going to be ugly, and I can't blame them since we're facing off against Drake and FCS school, but we have to play well because after this one, we're facing off against our biggest rivals in the war on Route 131 against Western Michigan. Our top 3 players might be pretty rough, but we're about to see our home stadium, and welcome to our first night game at Hulu Field. It's almost empty, but as you can see, there's a ton of room for expansion, so if we ever become good in the future, there's a lot of room for us to grow, and we're starting it off with our first play going for about 20. I doubt they thought that we would throw it right off of the rip, but now we're giving it to Nico, and I would love to score at least 3 on this first drive if we can, but we're going to have to pick up this 3rd and 7 where we go with the halfback screen. Braden Nico has the space, and that's a first down. If Drake wants to stop us, they're going to have to play better defensively. Terrence Dogan misses the pass though, but tight end Steve Winchester got open, so we might as well look back in his direction on this one where he is going to come down with the football. I would absolutely love if we could win our first home game ever in front of this home crowd, because the people that came out deserve it, and we're just going to continue to try and move the the ball down the field, but our attempt to pound the rock got blown up there, and we're going to go back to Steve Winchester, who's not moving like he has 71 speed. 3rd and 5 now, where Terrence Dogan sees the space up the middle, and he's going to scramble for the first down and not fumble. So Grand Rapids University is coming out playing well right now. And here on 2nd and goal, we're going back to the run, but it is blown up. Our offensive line is not very good. On 3rd down, though, we're going to go for the corner of the end zone, and it's caught by Archie. So the senior has gotten this team onto the board first, and our defense should look a lot better today against this team. But somehow there was a face mask on that play, and Jeremiah Wayne literally came in and tackled him from behind. The refs do not want to see us win if that's the stuff they're going to be calling, and that is unfortunate. But what I'm more concerned about is stopping Derek Jackson after that last play. He was running the ball a lot quicker than I expected him to, and he gets about 7, but we've already reached the end of the first quarter, and we have a 7-point lead on Drake. This is what you want to see from this team. On 3rd and 8, they're not going to pick it up, and what a play from Mike Mountain. I'm so proud of our defense right now, but there's a long way to go, and taking a sack like that is not going to help us. On 3rd and 16, the throw is going to be off target. Reed comes away with the interception. So Terrence Dogan throws his 4th interception of the season, and that one shouldn't have been. I have a feeling at some point we're going to have no choice but to bench him. Now we're missing a tackle, and Drake is going to get out of there. Wayne's going to miss his as well. That's a touchdown. And of course, it was Derek Jackson who I was afraid of going into this. It's crazy how within seconds, everything immediately changed for us, but there's still a long way to go, and on this 2nd and 6, we're not getting it out. Terrence Dogan had the slant, but he's going to have to take it quicker, and that throws off the marks. So once again, we have to punt the football back to Drake, and this one is going to bounce before the returner can get to it, so they're going to have to pick this one up, run backwards, and we just have to hit him. I've been very impressed with the home crowd we were able to draw out to this game. Now Dwayne Ingram's going to try to scramble out of the pocket. Wayne is not able to bring him down, so he'll get the first. And Jeremiah Wayne's supposed to be one of our best defensive players, but he's been really hit or miss, and on this 2nd and 8, everything's in a box, but again, we don't have anybody over there to stop Ingram, and he's going to run for a lot of yards. My fear is our defense is returning to the form that they had against Michigan State, and on 2nd and 1, we're getting in the hole versus Derek Jackson, but he breaks the tackle and fights for more yards. 2nd and 8 now, we're sending in 5 players to hopefully get some pressure in, but that's not happening, and Ransom is left wide open. So we find ourselves down 14-7, and we need to move down the field on this drive. Terrence Dogan cannot have any more inaccurate passes. We have to pick up this first, and he's 10 for 13, which is pretty good for 62 throw accuracy, but he's still made some mistakes, and on this one, he is going to scramble out of there. What a play from him to get to midfield, but he fumbled it away to Matthews. It's picked up by Drake, and we got to bring him down. He should have slid, but I think he thought he could hit this hole and get even more yardage, and I don't know what type of kicker Drake has, but they're probably going to get a field goal on us at least. Once again, our players are tackling at the face mask, and if you were excited to see Grand Rapids win their first game, it's starting to not look likely. It's nice that we were able to force a sack on them, but we're going to still have to stop them from reaching the end zone, and they're getting another first. So we can all see what is about to happen if we're not clutch. And on 2nd and goal, they're taking the snap, and their quarterback's trying to run in where nobody made a play. Our good start did nothing for us because we gave up 21 straight, and then Drake started the 3rd quarter by scoring a touchdown. So now we're trailing by 3 possessions, and the writing is almost on the wall if we're not able to pull off the comeback, and that throws off the marks. Terrence Dogan was so close to hooking up with Massey here, but because he wasn't, now it's 3rd and 10 where he's going to look in Martin Massey's direction again, and this ball should not have been caught by him. Evidently, we need to make sure the senior gets more targets because at least for the time being, he has kept our hopes alive, and our best wide receiver, Matt Land, hasn't seen the ball until this play, but he's going to get 14, which has set us up to continue moving down the field where Martin Massey is going to come away with this one, and that's a touchdown. If we're going to come back, we're going to have to start getting some defensive stops though, and let's see what the Mastodons can do on 3rd and 2 where their tight end just got naked against us. It's so hard to get them off the field, but we have another chance on this 3rd and 4, and this has to be picked by Cook. It's nice that he knocked it down, but that could have been a pick 6, and they're attempting a 55-yard field goal, which is good. That means we're going back to being down by 3 possessions, and it really puts the pressure on our offense for this drive. But I love to see Terrence Dogan starting to get more comfortable out there, and he's throwing for another first. I might need to adjust the penalty sliders because these face masks are ridiculous, but at least that one benefited us, and there's just not big holes for us to run the ball in. 3rd and 6 now where I want to look at Steve Winchester over the middle of the field, and he is going to hold on. So Terrence Dogan has broken his own school record, and let's get them off the field on this 3rd and 5 where I'm seeing the running back open in the flat, but no one's over on Barry, and that's going to go for a lot of yards. We just need our defense to do something, and even the blitz isn't working as Barry comes away with another one. So we've had a good effort, but I don't think we're going to take down Drake, and I'm honestly not that upset with our offense, but the defense has been rough, and that ball was put right where it needed to be to Steve Winchester. Now he has the school record for receiving yards in a game, and I might as well continue to pepper him with targets. Yes, there's another face mask, which means the penalty slider's getting adjusted, but I think there's a lot we can learn from this game as we have played pretty well, and Dogan has a chance to throw for another touchdown, but instead he missed the throw, so now it is 3rd and 10 where he's going to have to float this one up, and it's picked by Johnson. That's going to seal our chance at coming back, but in garbage time, Terrence Dogan ran up the numbers, which is good since since we can't successfully run the ball. I've been pleasantly surprised with how our receivers have done, and if we're gonna land Ben Fowler, I want to schedule him for a visit as soon as possible versus Western Kentucky. Before that, of course, we have to play our biggest rivals, Western Michigan, but they're coming off of a loss to the Hilltoppers, and their best two quarterbacks are out with injuries, so we need to go into their place and shock the world. It took us less than an hour to travel down to Bordeaux Stadium, but we continue to win the coin toss, and it's time to see if third stringer Hayden Wolf can get the job done. They're already running for about 15, but now they're making him go 5 wide, and with this wide receiver screen, they're not going to go anywhere. The longer we can stay in games like this, the better, and on 2nd and 12, he's rolling out, throwing it off of his back foot crossfield, and Hayden Wolf is not built like that. There's no reason a third stringer should be pulling stuff off like that against us already, but a hard pill to swallow as our rivals are much better than us, so this could get ugly very quick. I'd hate to see them win the division, but we aren't able to get in any pressure despite sending so many players in their direction, and I'll continue to give Braden Eco's chances to run, but if the 5'7" halfback continues to get locked up, we can't do anything. This is why we desperately need to have a good first recruiting class, and that was the quickest 3-and-out ever, so I've already lost a lot of the hope I had going into this one, and this is bad. They're literally doing whatever they want to against us, and the slant was open, but so is Womack, so it's 14-0, and we almost have to pass it on any play if we want a chance of moving the ball down the field, but we can give them a chance to run the option, and that's going to get us a couple. On 3rd and short, we have to resort to using fullback dive, and I'm going to finally start utilizing Matt Land by putting him on a drag every play and just feeding him if he's open. We're having a very slow and controlled drive, but it's working for us so far, and right back to Matt Land where they read Dogan like a book. That is his first pick. You can only force feed a player the ball so much before the computer picks up on it, and they're getting this 3rd and 10. So our goal of winning a game this season might be a little far-fetched, but we have to hope for the best, and on 3rd down, I'm going to use her this drag underneath. Now I'm going back there, and that has to be intercepted. I'm proud of them for holding the Broncos to a field goal, but it's not going to matter if we can't score, and the blocks are perfect here, so we have enough time to get it off to Steve Winchester. We still have rivalry matchups coming up against Central and Eastern Michigan too, so I'm hoping at some point we can beat one of the smaller schools in this state. We're going back to our tight end, and we're going to go for it on 4th down, so we might as well try to get a little bit closer on 3rd down, but Dogan's going to get the first himself, and if we could score here, we get ball to start the 2nd half, so we wouldn't be out of it entirely against our rivals, but we're going to need a big play, and their defense has been nothing short of spectacular. We do have somebody open, but it's a bad throw, so we just have to punt it back, and I guess I can hope that this bounces back inside the 2, but it's not going to. 3rd and 6, Western Michigan moving it down the field on us. Hayden Wolf's going to throw it up, and Brett Cook's going to come down with it. That's a pick. So we have forced our first turnover with Grand Rapids University, and we might as well try to take a deep shot. I'm looking over on that side of the field to land, but they weren't letting him catch the ball. I wish we were able to get points on the board, but we have really struggled to do that all day. There's another interception from Western Michigan, and here in the 2nd half, I'm hoping that things can go a little bit better for us, but I am struggling immensely with this team, so we will see. My only goal for GRU in year 1 is to win a game, and that comeback route was not run well, so it's probably a good thing the pass was bad, and we have got the triple option out here on 3rd down where we are going to try to pitch it to Nico. He is not going to get the first, and it has been such a long game for us, but we do have a halfback screen to Cardi on 4th down, and he isn't quick, but he does have enough to get there. I'm telling you all that it might look rough now, but that's what happens when you start a new program, and if we don't have a lot of years of struggle, it won't be as sweet whenever you win a championship. Terrence Dogan is out for the rest of the game though with a hurt hip pointer, so backup sophomore Zach Keys is out there, and on 3rd and 24, Land drops the ball. It's a shame that the first time we played decently defensively, our offense just can't do anything, but 6'5" Hayden Wolf's obviously going to break that tackle from our safety, and I wish all of our DBs weren't so small, but it's okay. How did Womack catch that? That's going to lead to Western Michigan probably scoring again, as we're not going to make the tackle, and poor Zach Keys is not having a very good time back there. I'm embarrassed our first game against our rivals is going to end like this, but one day we'll win the war on Route 131, and now we can focus all of our attention on scheduling everybody for a visit versus Western Kentucky, which needs to go well because up to this point we don't have a single commit on this board, but since they're sitting at 3-0, I don't see that happening, especially since they're 29 overalls better. If we're going to get these visiting recruits, we need to rush for at least 100 yards and pass for 250, but I have a feeling it's going to be very hard to do, and I'm honestly happy with how many fans we have showing up. They're ready to see us try our best against Western Kentucky, where we're only getting a few, and on an early 3rd and 8, they went with man-to-man coverage, so we're going to go over to Land, who's going to get about 20. The plan for today's game is to feed him the ball, so on another 3rd down, we're going to look back in his direction, but it's off the marks, and we'll see what the refs called a flag on, but unfortunately it was on us, so we've been forced off of the field early. But with a punt, they're going to have to start from the 20-yard line, and our man-to-man coverage isn't looking terrible so far, except Smith got wide open. We have got to generate some pressure off of our defensive line if we're going to stop the Hilltoppers today, and I've got some blitz packages drawn up, but Austin Reed is going to break that tackle, so it's 3rd and 1 where they're going to go with the pass, and the drag underneath is open. We've gotten them to another 3rd and 10 though, so maybe we can get them off the field, and we just have to knock Hutchinson out of bounds, where he has been marked short at 4th and 1, so the Hilltoppers have to settle for a field goal, goal, and that one is going to be in. Also, what I think is neat about our stadium is you can see the river behind it, and we have a beautiful backdrop here, but we need to get more fans in the stands. That'll happen once we start winning, which will happen once we start getting some better recruits. And I knew this first season was going to be rough, but we are struggling. Our offensive line isn't even giving us a chance to get the ball out, and just to avoid a safety, we're going to try to run with Dogan, but we have to punt it back to Western again. And remember, Torre doesn't have a strong leg, so we just have to hope that it bounces before the returner gets to it, and this is fumbled on the ground, but Young still got on the ball. We had a big opportunity there, but unfortunately for us, we just couldn't make anything out of it, and I'd love to get them off the field again on 3rd and 2 if we can make this tackle, which we do. Junior corner Terrence Brackett is starting to develop, and that's what you love to see because it's still going to be a one-possession game, and they've missed. I know they're 3-0, but if our offense can get it going, we have a shot, and here on 2nd and 10, we're going to hit him with a little bit of play action, but there's no time. I feel bad for Terrence Dogan because the offensive line is getting shredded apart. All he can do is try to scramble for the first down himself here, and offensively, it was a rough first quarter, but our defense is starting to figure it out, and they're going to hit us with the read option, which is going to go for more than expected. Every time we get him to a 3rd and 6, I hope that we're able to get them off the field, but our coverage is terrible on Malachi Corley, and I've been surprised at how well we've shut him down for this long, but he might pick this one up too, and we get the sack. Todd Augustine fought his hardest to get in there on Austin Reed, and Western Kentucky's kickers already missed one, with this one also hitting the post. We desperately need our offense to start getting things going in this situation, and I'm going to hand it off to Braden Nico again, but it just isn't going anywhere. Here on 3rd and 5 now, we have to pass it, and we're going to look for him in the flat where he is going to get the first down plus more, and it's going to be a struggle to get down the field, but we're trying. I've accepted that we're not going to rush for 100 yards, but maybe we can pass for 250 with this one going to land for about 20, and we're just going to continue to look in his direction, but the Hilltoppers don't want to let that happen. If anything, I'd love to get a field goal out of this drive. The halfback screen to Braden Nico doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere though, and this is certainly out of our kicker's range, so we're going to need a lot of yards, but that throw wasn't on target, so it's 4th and 10, and I'm looking at Archie over on that left side of the field where he is going to catch the ball and go to the 15. That is exactly what we needed in that situation. Now we're going to go back to our drag for a couple, but I can't blame Matt Land for dropping the ball, and I doubt they were expecting the read option where Terrence Dogan's going to take off and he's going to fight to the 1. This is our chance to get into the end zone, and Nico isn't going to do it, so I'm going to have to hit him with the play action and hope for the best where there's nothing here, but Dogan's still going to try to make it, and we have to burn our final timeout. I don't think we can trust Nico to run it in, so I feel like we need to resort to passing, and that blitz got in so quick, but we're going to throw it anyway, and it's caught. Matt Land has given us the lead with 2 seconds left in the first half, and the Hilltoppers are on upset alert. I don't know how we're in this situation. I didn't expect that to happen today, but we've done a good job on Austin Reed, and on 2nd and 5, they're going with a run where Augustine has to make the play himself, but he just got juked out instead. I can't be upset at him because he did have that sack earlier on in the game, and here on 1st and 10, he left Hutchinson wide open. So I'm going back to user and Jeremiah Wayne, and Dalvin Smith just dusted us on that corner route. I'll give man-to-man coverage one more shot, but if they beat us here, we're not doing it again. And Todd Augustine just accidentally got another sack, but the craziest part about all of it is he is our left tackle. I don't know how he's a higher overall at left end, but Chase Southright's been injured, and I'd say he's earned the role as our starter for the rest of the season because right now we are playing better than we have all year. 3rd and 17 now. The Hilltoppers need a big gain, and they're not going to reach the first down marker, but they've given their kicker a good shot at making this, and he drills it. We have a lead for the time being, but it's not going to last if we don't have another good drive, and I keep giving Braden Nico chances to get things going, but he can't, and now it is 3rd and 14 where we're going to try to pick this up by going over to Land, and he's going to drop the ball. When he actually holds on, he's an amazing player to have on this team, but stuff like that just makes me so frustrated because now we have to punt it back to the Hilltoppers, whose returner is going to catch it, and he threw a guy off of him and is fighting all the way to our 25. I feel like we're never going to come away with a win if we cannot get it going. Our offensive line has got to get better. I need to focus on it in recruiting, and our defensive line also got no pressure in. That's the only reason that play was able to go on for so long, and Pascal is bringing him down, which is more than I thought the 5'8 safety was going to do, but now they're on 2nd and goal, and we have to pick this with Odom. David had it in his hands right there, but he couldn't come away with it, and on this 3rd and goal, I'm stuck on the defensive tackle, so Dalvin Smith comes away with another catch. He's been better versus us than Malachi Corley, but they're not getting the 2-pointer, so we are still very much in this game because we can take a lead with a touchdown, and if this run play doesn't work, I might throw the ball on every single down to end the game. Braden Nico has 8 rushing yards throughout this entire performance, which is abysmal. We're going to get more with Terrence here as he's going to juke out that defender and fight to the 40. He definitely needs to be sliding in that situation, but that was almost picked. And on 2nd and 10, we're going to drop back with Dogan where he gets a decently clean pocket, but he throws an interception. That's his first one of the game. He always has one. The longer this goes on, the less chance we have at beating the new MAC opponent, and they're in the other division, so hopefully this won't be a conference battle for years to come because Western Kentucky is normally better than this, and on 3rd and 9, we're almost going to get the pick. Brett Cook might be short and like a 60 overall, but he just stuck with Malachi Corley as best as anyone else could have. And here again, we are with the ball trying to run it, and Nico gets nowhere. It's sad that we know that's exactly what's going to happen. On 2nd and 13, we're going to try to pick up the corner route, but it's again intercepted. And that was the only wide receiver on the field that even had a chance at getting open in that situation. I went back and watched it, and everybody was clamped up, and I'd love to get them off the field here, but Malachi Corley just came around on a jet sweep, and the second I saw him sprint, I knew it was over. It's a shame that all of the visiting recruits that came today saw this performance, because if things would have went differently, they probably would have committed. We're trying to throw over the middle, but Terrence Dogan misses his target, and on 3rd down, we're going over to land where he actually hits him, but the ball is dropped because he has like 50 catching. I've pretty much lost all hope as I am punting with 4 minutes left. We didn't even go for it. I'm trusting our defense to get a stop and then get another one, but I highly doubt that's going to happen, and we're just going to have to hope for the best. They're not running the ball though. They are passing, and on 2nd and 5, they're not picking it up. So this is our last chance to get them off the field, where they go with the halfback screen, and Jeremiah Wayne is getting over to the football. We're getting it back with about 2 minutes left, down by 12, and with this punt, I think I'm just going to move out of the way, let it bounce to the end zone, but what have I done? We literally have this on the half-yard line. I cannot see this ending well. I might as well just send up a prayer and hope for the best. But Archie, being our tallest receiver, didn't even attempt to catch this, and I've just accepted defeat versus the Hilltoppers. Jaquez Evans got 4 sacks on us, which is why it doesn't feel right to bench Terrence Dogan for Zach Keys just yet, but if we don't do well versus Bowling Green or Toledo, we're going to have to make that move. Well, we can't lose during our bye week, so that's a good thing, and the game's not wrong. It can't get any worse for us, because with that loss to Western Kentucky, none of the players that we wanted committed, and that includes Ben Fowler. Our rivals, Central Michigan, are trying to beat us out for him, and as the weeks go on, the battle gets closer. Our next game is against 5-1 Bowling Green, who took down Indiana with their only loss coming to Georgia Southern, so I cannot imagine this going well for us, but at this point, we have nothing to lose, and I've decided that we're just going to try to throw it for the entire game and see how that goes, but that's a bad pass. At this point, I've accepted we can't run the ball. Our blocking is terrible, and we should honestly only come out in shotgun just to give us enough time to maybe get a pass off to Land, who catches it, but I still feel obligated to mix in a run every so often, and I'm left disappointed every single time. Here on 2nd and 8, we have Matt Land motioning over on a little bit of a hitch route. He's not going to get open, but Steve Winchester is on the corner route, and by the end of the year, he might be our #1 target as he keeps holding on. I'm liking our offense a little bit more now that we've switched it up to a passing attack, and Nico is going to spin for 9 yards there, so maybe we only use him out of the passing game because he looks a lot more solid than running the ball. I honestly cannot believe this first drive we're putting together against Bowling Green, but we're about to reach the end zone, and it's fumbled. You've got to be kidding me. When I tell you we're sending the house, I mean it, and that's what we did, but it didn't work. And I can't believe our luck. Just when we started to do well, Bowling Green gets something like that happening, and they're going to break this tackle. We have to somehow knock down their running back. Come on, boys. Just make him go down. Taryn Keith is tearing us up, and Grand Rapids University does not look like a football school. But maybe we pull off the miracle, holding them on 3rd and 3, which would make them only kick a field goal, but that's not happening. We can't run man coverage. I should know that by this point, and Connor Bazelak's going to keep it on the read option where we have somebody over there to bring him down, but he grabbed his face mask in the process, and I still haven't adjusted that slider, so let me know if I should in the comments. On 2nd and goal, I'm going to try to get in that hole with Jeremiah Wayne, and Connor Bazelak didn't reach the end zone, so we could hold them to a field goal, but they passed it, and I wasn't expecting it. There is a flag on the play, though, so we'll see what it is, and Drake Kinsey stepped off sides. It's remarkable that we had such a good drive, but now we're in a position where we're trailing 7-0, and I'm glad that Zach Archie didn't fumble that time, but we're not going anywhere, and I'm putting Winchester on a streak, hoping that he can just run by that linebacker and we can go over top the defense, which is what he did perfectly. If we had a quicker tight end, we could make some amazing plays with him, but we should have gotten a much better block there, and I understand a halfback pass probably isn't the best option, but if nothing's open, we could run with Nico, but he tried to make the throw. I think that was a good play that kept them off guard. Now we have to pick up this 3rd and 8, though, and Dogan is going to try to do it himself with his legs. He's going to get the first down, and you can tell that the senior does not want to lose his starting spot. That is the best first quarter that we've played all year, but we have to reach the end zone to capitalize on this drive, and we are not going to do it. It's picked. The idea was to let Archie burn his man, and that is what he did, but this other defender came over and made a great play. So for the second time today, the Falcons force a turnover in their red zone, and I love that we're competing with teams, but Taryn Keith is going to keep this one, and I don't know if anyone's going to be able to make a tackle because everybody missed, and there's no one close to him. He has made it all the way to the end zone. He's just outrunning our entire defense, and how is it 14-0 right now? This is the best game we have played against any team. I would make that argument all day, and you can see the confidence building up as we keep going back to Matt Land, but there's always something that crushes our momentum or ruins the drive. I need to pay better attention to recruiting to make sure that we get some more wide receivers out there because this is just rough. We're going to go over to Nico on this one, and he made 2 guys miss, which is why I keep trying to get him involved in the running attack, but now it's 4th and 1 where I feel like we have to hit them with the play action, and thankfully Steve Winchester created separation. If anybody's going to help us score consistently, it's him, and I'm going to have to take the drag underneath underneath to Archie on this play, but as long as Terrence Dogan is hitting that throw, I am perfectly fine with that read as we're about to reach the end zone with Nico diving in. We're passing the ball exceptionally well, which I was not expecting, but stopping Taron Keith is going to be a big issue for this team and their offense in general. Connor Bazelak has yet to throw an interception. He's like 7 for 7, but there it is. And I love that I just spoke that into existence because now they feel like they have to run the ball, but that's not good either. This entire first season in the Hulu documentary is going to be pretty boring from a gameplay perspective, but they've sponsored this new college, and on 3rd and 3, we could get Bowling Green off the field, which is exactly what we have done. If we could get some points before the half, I'd say that this game is far from being over, but that's going to be hard to do because Matt Land just had another drop, and on this 3rd and 10, we're looking back in his direction where he comes away with it. Thank you. He's so quick, so I want to utilize him more, but it's hard to do so. And how did Seven get in so fast? He's so undersized for a rusher, but so is our offensive lineman, and time is ticking down in the half. I didn't even realize it. We're going to try to throw it up to Steve Winchester, and it seems like we're not going to get any points before the half unless we can come away with a miracle. 17-7 isn't terrible, especially since they're 5-1, but they got the ball to start the second half, and they have just been driving. There's another touchdown. Taron Keith cannot be stopped in this game, and Terrence Dogan's done a fantastic job of keeping us in it through the air by passing, but Steve Winchester's not going anywhere. And I think it's time we switch up the playbook because all of these under center plays aren't helping us. I feel like this is the first time we've seen the tight end drop it, and that's very frustrating, but we might as well go for it, and it's going to be caught by Archie. Hit him with a little bit of play action on the next one where Nico actually picked up that block perfectly well, and we're going to find Land who drops it, and that should have been a touchdown. That would have been the best play of our season. I am so disappointed because if we're not able to score on this drive versus Bowling Green, you can pretty much write us off, but the halfback screen's going to get Braden Nico into a ton of space, and he's going to take this one to the house by himself. Terrence Dogan is having his best game yet. He has passed for more yards than he has ever before, and it's on our defense now to get us the ball back. They have to get the stop we need with Jeremiah Wayne racking up the tackles, and he is a ball hawk to these players. Because of him, it is 3rd and 7 where they're going to throw it in Brett Cook's direction, and he knocks it down. So do not count us out of this one yet. We are keeping up with Bowling Green. We are playing better than ever at Grand Rapids University right now, and your Mastodons are trying to pull off what would be one of the biggest upsets of the season, but it's an interception almost immediately. The check down was open, but Terrence Dogan had so much confidence, and he tried to force it to Matt Land, which I can already see the comments is actually on me, but for storytelling purposes, you get it. We keep getting the Falcons to 3rd and 9s though, so that's good, and we're going to get the interception with Jeremiah Wayne. He isn't quick enough to outrun number 1, I don't think, but that was an amazing play from him, and maybe so. I love how well we are keeping up with them right now. We're getting another first down, and by the time we play our other rivals in Central and Eastern Michigan, we're going to be so much better. As time is ticking down in the 3rd quarter, we could have used a touchdown on this play, but they got the sack that they needed, and we can't afford to not get at least a field goal on this drive, so we're going to take the drag and hope that this is in Garrett Saffold's range, which it is. It might have been a very close call, but we are within 7 now. We just have to get one more stop on the Falcons, and I am so proud of this team right now because we are playing so much better than anyone expected us to. That's going to be a broken play where Bowling Green is punting the ball back to us, and could this be the game that we finally win? Cardi, our backup halfback, is on the return. He is going to get about 15, and I promise if we drive down the field here and take off enough clock, we're going to go for the 2-point conversion and the win. This feels like Virginia versus North Carolina this year, but on the MAC level of things, and Grand Rapids University is so close to making history. That throw was so far behind Steve Winchester, but he still came back to the ball and made the catch, and they haven't stacked the box too much, so we'll run it for the first. The upset is seeming more and more like a possibility as we speak. We just got to keep going underneath, and the read on this play is between our 2 tight ends where we're going to have the second one up the middle, where I cannot believe that he held onto the ball, but we're going to continue to push it, and that's to the 15. The Mastodons are closing in on shocking the world, and that ball is going to be dropped, but all is good. We're going to continue to go to our tight end who we know will hold on, and the halfback screen worked for us earlier, so we're going to try to utilize it again to Nico, who's going to dive for the first, but he fumbled it into the end zone. You're joking. I feel like the only thing I can do in this situation is challenge it, and I hope he crossed the end zone first, but they're not even reviewing that. They're reviewing where he picked up the ball. To be completely fair, I didn't watch the instant replay beforehand where I just saw he lost it way before, and Nico wanted the first down so bad, but you have to hold on to the ball. That is a brutal way to lose a game, but we saw that Terrence Dogan could throw for 380 yards, and just like us, Toledo hasn't won a conference game, so maybe this is when we finally pull it off. Before we start though, I want to change our playbook over to Tulane's because I've enjoyed using it in the past, and we finally landed a recruit, but it's a kicker. Joseph Clement will be better than what we have though, so I'm thankful for him because we still haven't been able to seal the deal with any of these guys, but in the coming weeks it will happen very soon. Our passing attack is somehow the 12th best in the country, but we're averaging 20 yards per game on the ground, so we have got to figure that out today against Toledo. And with Tulane's playbook, maybe we'll be able to, but this first run's going nowhere. This playbook does have a lot of corner routes in it though, so I'm going to do my best best to utilize them. And I hate that we're about to be forced to a 3-and-out already, but we tried to go over the middle of the field and that ball was not where it was supposed to be at all. Don't tell me they're going to take it to the house as well. Make a tackle. This pass was supposed to go to Matt Archie on the left side of the field, but it wasn't near him. And Toledo's actually been really good in real life this year, so they should be in game. I can't believe how many times we've turned it over this season. Here on 3rd and 6, Daquan Finn's going for the corner route, but we lucked out as he wasn't able to get a foot in, and I'll gladly take them only getting a field goal out of that. Since we can't seem to establish the run at all, I want to give another guy a shot, and he's struggled to catch passes, so it's going to be Matt Land, but the issue with that is then he can't play wide receiver. That's kind of my plan if we can pick up this first down, and he's going to catch his second ball of the day, make that cornerback miss, and you know what? Maybe we shouldn't move this guy to halfback. Whenever he holds onto it, he's actually really good out of the catch, but he's also pretty elusive, so that's why I'm considering it, but I don't want to lose our best wide receiver at the same time. Depending on what down it is, I'd have to swap him back to wide receiver because we need him in to do stuff like this, so maybe it was a bad idea because the offense is finally moving, but our center just decided he wasn't going to pick up number 31. That sack could ruin our chances of getting a field goal on this drive, and we're going to need quite the play here on 3rd and 18. We're going to go over to our stud receiver, but he got clamped up by Mitchell, one of the best corners in NCAA football, and I should have known better than to throw in his direction, but he's going to take it to the crib, and the fact that he's taking it for 6 is so frustrating. They were running man-to-man coverage, and we still threw it at their best corner with our guy with 47 route running, and I don't even want to talk about it at this point. Of the 3 interceptions, that one was actually on me. Now they're going to break this tackle. Come on, someone bring them down. We are so bad. Before we get into the second half of the season in this video, I'm just going to have to take a break where I cool down because we have to get at least one win with Grand Rapids, and I've played so well in some of our previous matchups, but at this point against Toledo, we're cooked. They shouldn't be 3-4 because they have one of the best teams in the game, but we have an opportunity to go deep, and the throw is not on target. Senior Terrence Dogan is about on his last leg at this point. I don't know if he's going to stay out there because even though he's done so well recently, he's starting to struggle. We're going to find Braden Nico for 15, and I'm going to let him finish out this drive, but if it doesn't result in a touchdown, it will be time to try a new quarterback out there, and look at Winchester breaking a tackle. The thing about Terrence Dogan is even though he's our best quarterback, he doesn't seem to be able to get wins, but he fits it into the tight window, and besides the 3 interceptions, 2 of which are his fault, he's not doing bad. I feel like that's a wild statement to make considering it's not even halftime and he's turned the ball over 3 times already, but I've seen him complete passes that I would not expect someone of his caliber to do, and I don't believe that we have anybody else on this team that would do better than what he has. Holding Toledo to a field goal here is a big deal, even though it's going to go in, because we could end the first half scoring again and getting it back within a possession, but that throw's bad. You all are very close to seeing a whole new era here at GRU, but we're going to get it to Braden Nico, and he's going to get the first down to keep this drive alive for us, while also keeping Terrence Dogan's career alive in the process as well. He got that ball out quick enough to Winchester, who's going to get more than expected, and 3rd and inches is the perfect place to hand it off to make sure we move the chains. Here on 2nd and 10, Braden Nico's on a halfback angle route, and the defense decided they didn't want to guard him, while also committing a face mask penalty. So here we go, we're approaching the red zone, and this could result in another touchdown. Matt Archie dropping the ball there isn't the end of the world as long as he can come away with this one, and I think Terrence Dogan missed a touchdown, but it's not the end of the world. It would have been better if he completed that pass, but we're in a position where I think Saffold can hit it from this far out, and it's only 39 yards. Going into the half down by 10 isn't that bad. Toledo's just trying to run out the rest of the clock. We have to make a tackle. That player got sent into the shadow realm, and now they're breaking more. Come on, do not let him go to the house. Getting defensive stops has been ridiculous with this team. I know we're only a 50 overall defense, but I expect better. The pass rush is not getting in. There is somebody wide open, and what are we even putting out there on the field right now? This product of football is a disappointment for Grand Rapids University, and Andrew Luck being our head coach has not helped one bit. We could get them off the field though, and that was such a big tackle from Jeremiah Wayne. I don't want to jinx anything, but we're within 13 points, and we could very easily go down the field and get it back within a possession on this drive, but Terrence Dogan could also throw his 4th interception of the day, so we have to be extremely careful. And Matt Land dropping the ball is nothing new. On 3rd and 10, they went with man-to-man coverage, and Archie was able to toast number 3. This is our biggest receiving play of the year, and I'm telling you all, the corner routes in this playbook are incredible. I wish I could say running was going just as well too, but we're going with a back juke and it's going nowhere. So we can attempt to get Braden Nico involved out of the passing game again with this halfback screen, and he might be able to get the first down plus more. That was a beautiful block, and he's going to reach the house. However, the ref is going to bring it back, and it wasn't a beautiful block after all. From this angle, nothing about it looked illegal, but they called it anyway. And that's so sad because now it's 3rd and 16 where I should have taken the tight end early, and we're being forced to punt it back to Toledo down by 13 with this ball most likely not going out of bounds where it needs to. Our defense has tried to hold it down, but they can only continue to do it for so long. There's a missed tackle, there's another missed tackle, and you know what to expect. If we can't get Toledo off the field on this 3rd and 9, they're most likely going to win this game, and David Odom has to hold on to that ball. I think he would have taken that back to the crib, so it would have been game-changing, but they're missing, and that means we're getting the ball in decent field positioning where Matt Land just cooked number 3. That is the second time today that we have seen number 3 get dusted like that. So our new game plan is look in his direction, and he's guarding Matt Land again, where we're going to try to go over the top, and it's knocked away. It's never a good idea to throw up a jump ball to a 5'9" wide receiver, but Matt Land's going to get this one, and I might as well keep throwing in his direction. They sent the blitz, and he got open, but Terrence Dogan missed the target, and I think we have to start exploring other quarterbacks. I think the only way he's going to keep his job is if we're able to win this game, and that has to be held on to. We had a touchdown, but now it's 4th and goal, and I see Zach Archie wide open. However, somebody dumb, and by somebody dumb I mean myself, simmed the extra point, so we missed it, and it might not even matter in the end. Toledo's already working it back down the field on us. Jaquez Stewart's going to take this handoff, and with that stiff arm, he's able to break free. We should have had him wrapped up a long time ago, but we're simply struggling, and on this 1st and 10, they're not going anywhere. I have so much faith in this team to eventually get the win. We just haven't put it together, and I feel like if we're able to land some decent recruits next season, we could see ourselves winning multiple games. We just have to get some stops. There's a flag on the play, but I'm pretty sure it's a late hit, so the touchdown's going to stand, and I think we're about to have a quarterback switch with Terrence Dogan potentially playing his last game. He was waiting on the wheel route on that play, but it simply took too long to develop. Now he doesn't have too much time back there, and we need multiple touchdowns to come back. We're not getting this 1st down, so we'll have to pick up this 4th and 1, and our tight end got open, but our offensive line decided to collapse. We're going to lose this game, so we'll see what Terrence Dogan can do on his final snap. He's just throwing it out of bounds, and things are about to change at Grand Rapids University. We cannot continue to lose every game, because next week we're going to have players like Brett Patterson come for a visit against Buffalo, and we've considered doing it for a bit, but Zach Keys is officially the starter. The sophomore only has 65 throw power, but his accuracy is much better than Terrence Dogan's, and his first game's in front of our small home crowd. If we want to land Kelvin Hackett, we need 100 yards to our tight ends, so that's going to be his main focus of the day, but more importantly than anything else, getting us a chance at having our first win. My hope is the quarterback switch fuels the team to play better than they have been. We've been doing decent, but we could do better, and we're simply shooting for 1 win this season. I don't think that's asking much. We've already gotten Buffalo to a 3rd and 7 where they just have hitches out there on the field, but that route bounce could kill us. Curry is going to come away with the football, and Pascal, you've got to make that tackle. Why did you just swerve by him? Booby Curry, which is one of the coolest names ever, has already put us down by a touchdown, but now we get to see what Keys can do, and I'm excited to see what 70 throw accuracy is like, because we have suffered from having a lot of missed passes in this video. Massey's already getting 20-25, and I wish Martin wasn't a senior because he's looked really good recently. I am curious about how Zach Keys runs the read option. He made the right read in this situation, but he is a bit slower than our last guy, so I want to see how quick he actually is, and Braden Nico's getting involved. The offense is flying down the field. I was not expecting this. Andrew Carty's going to catch this pass, and he's super slow, but he will get the first. And right now, Zach Keys is 4 for 4 for 52 yards. Now he's going to try to go over top, and this is where his weak arm hurts us because that should have been a touchdown. It's not the end of the world, though. We can always pick it up on another play, and he's going to find our backup tight end and back to running the option where he's going to keep it and make his way into the end zone. What a spectacular drive from him. I didn't think we were going to move down the field that easily, but Ron Cook Jr. just got 10 on that first run, and I'm sure he will get more throughout this entire game, which is why our defense needs to clamp up. I know we gave up a touchdown early on, but we were doing well until Curry went off, and it's another face mask penalty. There's been so many of them in this game. Cole Snyder has a lot of time back there in the pocket, and he takes the sack, and I legitimately think that we're going to hold Buffalo to a field goal or maybe nothing. That needs to be intercepted from Wayne, and it is. That's his 2nd interception, and with 2 of them on the season, he's been fantastic for us. Now we're just learning how to run the ball with Keys, and I want to have a slower pace of offense. I feel like we'll make a lot less mistakes this way, but Nico also has to get a lot of yards, and I'm remembering that we have to feed it to our tight end, but they guarded him perfectly, so it was probably best if we just held on to the ball. There's going to be plenty of drives where we don't have success. I'm just happy with the fact that we're being competitive with Buffalo. Cook Jr. is going to catch that one off the bounce, though, and that was a great stiff arm from him, which almost defeats the purpose of punting when they get the ball back to where you kicked it from. But Terrence Wayne Jr. is a man on a mission right now, and where was he on this play where Ron Cook Jr. is just outrunning everybody on our defense? I am confident at some point we are going to start figuring things out. They're trying to go deep. That has to be picked by Cook, and Cole Snyder threw it right to us. That's the 2nd time he's done that today, so now they're going to go back to running. And we have multiple DBs visiting where if we get 2 interceptions, it'll help them commit more. We'll get more bonus points, but that's not going to happen if we keep dropping balls. If Crumbs could have made this tackle, we would have forced them to a field goal as well, but we didn't, so now we have to stop the run, and that faked me out, so there's no way that our coverage is going to hold up here. Well, we're back on the offensive side of the ball with Zach Keys. They have great coverage on this play, and that was not an accurate throw from him. We need him to find Steve Winchester up the middle of the field, though, and it's knocked down. For a second, I thought the Buffalo defender was able to knock this ball out with his helmet, but it doesn't matter either way because the Bulls have the ball back, and Ron Cook Jr. just got a few. 2nd and 5 now, where I was trying to fill up that gap, but nobody got in there, and this was supposed to be a great debut, but all of a sudden, it looks like Buffalo's going up 21-7. We're fighting so hard in front of our home crowd, but it doesn't seem to make a difference, and we need to see something out of Zach Keys because he had a good first drive, but ever since then, he's been struggling. He's able to roll roll out here, avoid the sack, but he shouldn't be going deep with his pass. It's intercepted. And there's the first turnover of his career, which is going to lead to another Buffalo touchdown. For whatever reason, though, they're saying that he didn't drag his feet here. So the Bulls are getting cheated as they're only getting 3. And that was a rough first half of football. I'm afraid if we can't pick up a first down on this drive and go down the field and score, we're going to be out of it. But Zach Keys made sure that he picked up that 3rd and 6 for us. Now he's going to go to Braden Nico, which is going to be another 9 yards. And I've been trying to get him involved in the running game as well, but it's not working. That's why we're going with the halfback screen on 4th and 1 instead. And Cardi is out there on the field. Andrew Cardi is going to take this one. But what we really need to do is start getting some receiving yards with our tight end. And what was that? I don't know if there was a miscommunication or what, but Zach Keys was way off the marks there. And that's going to be another first down for Buffalo, which is going to eventually lead to even more points scored. This was not a good week for recruits to visit, but there's still going to be an entire 4th quarter of football to play. So we'll see, because if we can somehow force them to just get a field goal here, we're only down by 3 possessions. And it's time to see if Zach Keys can ever sling it. Whenever Terrence Dogan was out there, he had a lot of faults, but he was able to do that when we needed him. And that was a pretty solid first throw from him, but we're going to have to see a lot more on this drive. Drops like that are definitely not going to help, which is why he's hesitating on this one. And I cannot imagine that any recruit visiting wants to come here right now. Our last hope is this 4th and 30 where we have no choice but to throw the ball up, and this could result in his 3rd interception of the day. But all around, it was just a disappointing performance, and I'm not sure how we stick with him going forward, but we have to do it even though we're about to play at number 19 Notre Dame. I'm going to let him start that one and then on the road at Central Michigan, our rivals. But Ryan Pace saw that there's no competition at quarterback because he wanted to commit, along with Steven Arrington, who might be his number 1 target, but his number 1 target could also be JUCO Carlos Castillo, so we will see how that unfolds. There's still time for us to find more players in recruiting that we could potentially go after, like Scott Thomas, and this is another JUCO athlete that I feel like we have to get. Before we can continue to recruit, though, we have our hardest matchup yet, and going into this game, I'm expecting the worst. We might lose by 50, but I'm going to try to prevent that, and if that means milking the clock even when getting held to 3 and outs, so be it. I should have never even handed it off because there's no way that was going to have any success against Notre Dame, and Keys doesn't even know what button Winchester is, but he's still going to look in his direction once he figures it out, and that's a first down plus more. Our tight end's moving. We're already doing better than I expected us to do against the Irish, and 8 yards might be Braden Nico's longest run, so what is happening right now? We're actually moving the ball, and I cannot believe it. That's going to be another 20-yard gain, and where on earth has all of this been whenever we've been playing in conference? 2nd and 9 now, where our tight end is going to have to be open up the seam, and the throw is so off target, so I'm not sure why Zach Keys even has 70 throw accuracy because it's not working. We're going to try to attempt the 45-yard field goal, which had perfect power, but it's not far enough, and unfortunately for us, I think this is where it goes downhill. It was fun while it lasted, where we were moving the ball on the Irish. They're throwing it off of their back foot for the first, though, and Sam Hartman is about to destroy us. Going into this with 0 expectations is pretty fun, though, because we're playing better with no pressure on us, and I know this is still the Irish's first drive, but it is 0-0 to end the first quarter. It is 3rd and 11 now, where they're probably going to go for the end zone. I'm guarding all of those routes, but Merriweather still got open, so now we find ourselves down 7-0, and it's never going to be closer than this. I've accepted that, and my mind is fully focused on getting this team ready for Central Michigan, so I just see this as practice, because if we can move it on Notre Dame, we can move it on them. But there's the drops that we love from Matt Land, and here comes the Notre Dame offense again, thirsting for even more points against us. We made a good tackle, but they're going to hit us with the face mask, and not only did Notre Dame pay us to play in this game, but they're also paying the refs to help them. It's pretty embarrassing to have a 25-year-old at quarterback and not be able to score, especially on like a 50 overall defense. Now it is 3rd and 10, and Sam Hartman is going to throw what needs to be picked off, but Brett Cook didn't turn around, so Merriweather caught it. It's a shame, but that half went better than I thought it would, and we're playing Notre Dame like we would play any other regular MAC school. I don't understand. They have 0 respect for us, though, as they're going for it on 4th and 9 on this part of the field, and I think they're going to get it as well. Merriweather has destroyed our corners. Nobody can stick with him, and now we're down 21-0. So I've just accepted that it's all over at this point, but I am happy with the effort that we put up at the very beginning of the game, and Zach Keys is doing everything he can to potentially be the starter next year. He does not want to lose out on that job. If we can't get any points on this drive, I'll pretty much call that game. We're going to go up to our 5'9" wide receiver, and there's still hope on 4th and 9 with a little bit of play action, but there's no time. In the end, holding Notre Dame to like 30 points as a win in my book, because this is our first year having a football program, and we're kind of competing. Mark my words, one day we're going to beat Notre Dame in their place, but for now, all of my focus has to go on this game. Central Michigan starting a freshman quarterback that's thrown twice as many interceptions as touchdowns, and it would be so sweet to ruin their chances at making the MAC championship, but what isn't sweet is losing out on Marcus Dubinsky to Iowa State, and that's a hard hitter because we needed him, but Andrew Luck is focusing on offensive linemen as we landed 3 of them. We're also going to go after these 4 corners, with 2 of them being JUCOs if it's not too late, because right now next year we only have 4 wide receivers, and this isn't that significant, but I feel like I have to mention it because the MAC overtook the Sun Belt for the 8th best conference. That's one of the only things on the sheet that makes our school look good, so it makes me happy. And let's try to get into a battle versus our rivals. We have to wear the all black jerseys because it's their funeral, and this needs to be our best performance of the season. We have come way too close to winning multiple times to not get one against our rivals. That would be the ultimate win. And Eastern Michigan is really good this season, so this is our last real chance where Marion Lukes is just fighting for extra yards. He's got the impact player badge on him, so we know that he's going to be a problem throughout this game, and come on, boys. We cannot let them embarrass us like this, just pounding it down our throats run after run. And I've had enough, so I'm going to try to send in a blitz where Duckworth hits him hard. This could be a major 3rd and 3, and what are our zones doing over there? They gave up the first down, and now it's most likely going to lead to a touchdown as the jet sweep player is going to go untouched. It's only been a couple of minutes, but we're already trailing 7-0, and Nico looks a lot faster than he normally does. I don't know what it was about this power toss play, but I want to give it to him again because he looked amazing. And he's back down to earth almost instantly, so we're going to have to throw the ball, but Central Michigan isn't letting that happen. If Zach Keys wants to keep his starting job, I need to see something out of him in this game, and that's a solid play. But we have to pick up this 4th and 1, and on the corner route, that's what we're going to do over to Zach Archie, who is going to take it to the 10. This offensive drive is really starting to come together, but we're going to need to gain some yards here on 2nd down if we want to reach the end zone, and that's not it. I'm going to do my best to not force it, but if something's open, we're going to have to take it, and we did anyway. But that corner had straps on Matt Land, and getting 3 out of that drive isn't the end of the world. Ideally, we'll just get them off the field on this 3rd and 7, and we do. So we have gotten the ball back almost instantly, and we went with a little bit of a play action, but Zach Keys missed that pass really bad, and how does he have 70 throw accuracy? I feel like he's been very disappointing in that regard, especially since he doesn't have the throw power to make up for it, but the drive is staying alive, and we have somebody in the flat, but he can't get it out. A bit of a rough ending to the first quarter there, but there's plenty of time left in this game, so we can still bounce back from it. We're going to find Braden Nico on the halfback screen, and we need a lot of yards on this 3rd and 15, but they went with man-to-man coverage, so we're going to go to Zach Archie. Like I said, we can still bounce back from it, but I don't think we're going anywhere on this read option, and I can't believe how hard it's been to run the ball on these sliders. Carl Bunch just got enough separation with that route, though, and he's going to make it down to the 2. So the backup tight end set us up for success where we have to finish it off, and running isn't going to work, so we might as well pass it to Steve Winchester, but it went to Matt Land, and then he somehow caught the ball. Again, this is our quarterback with the best throw accuracy on the roster, and this is our wide receiver with the worst catching stats on the roster. It doesn't add up, but it's something I won't complain about, and ever since we started stacking the box, we've been holding their rushing attack. Another 3rd and long for them where I see Marcus Young is open, but I can't get over there in time, so I've just accepted that we can learn from that mistake and lock it up later on in the future. I think we should sell out for the run on this 3rd and inches, which we did, and whenever Tremaine Wayne sees a hole like that, he has to fill it up. Now we can take a timeout and get the ball back up by 3 with 2 minutes left in the first half. We're actually in control versus Central Michigan right now, but we cannot miss that badly. And come on, Zach Keys, you have got to clutch up. This is our best chance. It's 3rd and 10 now, and I am afraid that they're about to lock us up. I don't want to force anything or do anything risky, so they have gotten the ball right back, and we have to punt it and hope that this bounces the right way, which it does, but they still recover. That's so unfortunate, but our offense can't be perfect. There are going to be drives that we make mistakes on, and Burt Emanuel Jr. is trying to get the first down, which he does. So it's seeming more and more likely that Central Michigan will at least be tied up at 10 going into the half as he's breaking another tackle, which is nuts because he's a freshman quarterback, but he's out there moving like he's Lamar Jackson, and what just happened? Chris Parker's gotten by our defense for the 2nd time today, and isn't it crazy how fast things can change? It was looking good for us, but we got the right blocks, and Cardi's going to get his longest return yet, so we can also score before the half. And it's time for Zach Keys to represent the Mastodons in the right way, completing this one to Archie, and then making a quick read on the next one where he finds Martin Massey for another 20. Time is ticking down quick, and it is very precious, so that's why we have to have something big here. There is somebody open right there, and I might as well just take a timeout. It was a very delayed throw from Keys, which made it super stressful, and all we need is 9 more yards. We're going to go with a laser up the middle, and it's swatted down. This is such a big moment in this game, and they went with man-to-man coverage, but senior tight end Carl Birch couldn't hang on to the ball, and that is so devastating because we're most likely going to have to settle for a field goal, especially after that drop from Matt Land. You know what? It was a solid half from this team being down by 1, but we could have a lead on Central Michigan right now, and I feel like this is just the start of a lot of rivalry classics with them that are going to go back and forth. These missed passes are going to drive me insane, and we can't get this one out, so they're about to force us off the field, and we're going to look in Steve Winchester's direction, but they were ready for it all day, and you know what? That's about what a punt would have done. I've seen so many of our punts get to this point that I'm not going to sweat the turnover, because we can't fix it now. It already happened, and Emmanuel Jr. isn't getting out of the pocket on this one. It is now 3rd and 7 where they have a wide receiver acting as a blocker, which threw me off. They're going to pick it up, and if we can't stop the run, it's going to lead to a touchdown, and Marion Lukes broke free. Strong safety Scooby Duckworth literally had him, but he did a better job tackling our teammate, and all of our games have gone like this where we compete from the start, but then we struggle later on. I don't know what it's going to take to finish one, but but we have to avoid those sacks. And I've already decided in my mind that I'm going for it on 4th down here, so we might as well run it where we pick it up early. Keeping the chains moving is a big deal, but I don't see our number 1 receiver out there, which is a bit scary because like I thought, Matt Land strained his back and he's out for the day. He's our only target with any speed, which makes him a mismatch for a lot of the defenses and makes us harder to stop. But right now we're flying down the field, so maybe it doesn't matter. Keys is going to keep this one as well and juke a player out. So I'm starting to enjoy utilizing him on the read option, but this screen went nowhere. This is most likely one of the most important drives of the game, and that pass isn't hitting the target at all, which is why we need a good 3rd and 8 play call, and that curl route from Archie got open. There's also another face mask penalty, and we are so close to getting into the end zone here where we're going to do it. Junior Kyle Morton held on, and now we're going to go to Braden Nico, but they got pressure in time. And everything's in the hands of our defense because we have to rely on them to see the ball again, but Parker has just burnt through our defense again, and what is Terrence Brackett doing? How is he getting toasted that bad? We weren't even pressing, but the junior just made that the worst ending to the 3rd quarter possible, and we have to drive all the way down the field a couple more times if we want a chance in this. I've seen a lot of good things out of Zach Key in this game, and now we're going to hit the halfback screen and get the right blocks. Come on, Nico, you've got to outrun number 6 for even more yardage. Our momentum alone right now might carry us into the end zone where we get in, and Zach Keys is starting to come out of his shell a little bit. The problem lies on our defense though, is they have to stop Marion Lukes. He's breaking another tackle to get about 13, and if he's able to keep this up, we might never see the ball again as Central Michigan could run it all out. I almost want to start run committing, but now they're going with the pass, and that's where it could really lead to trouble. We're very lucky he couldn't keep his feet in bounds, and then they went with the draw, so we are seeing the ball again, and we need a 90-yard drive, but we could win this game with a field goal. And look at Nico. That is the largest rush he has had yet, which is also going to lead to the most rushing yards in a game, and it's funny but sad at the same time at how bad he's been. 2nd and 10 now, where they're not going with man-to-man coverage, and we're just going to miss our throw. So I'm starting to panic a little bit because they could get us off of the field, but they cannot keep up with Martin Massey. This is our game right here. We have played better than we have in any other one. We're getting another 5 or 6, and we're so close to taking down our rivals. We cannot screw up at this point. I'm so locked in because I've been playing for like 7 hours without getting a single good result with this team, and this is where we can put the Mastodons on the map for the first time, but that was almost really bad. It is 3rd and 9 now. We're going to take our hitch route to Cook, and I don't know why he's out on offense, but star cornerback, or just cornerback, Brett Cook is out there on the field, and why is he actually cooking? We might need to think about using him on both sides of the ball. Keys is going to get us another first, and you know what type of flag they're hitting us with right now. Central Michigan might stop the clock still because they have 3 timeouts, but I don't think they are, and we might as well just set up for the game-winning field goal. It's all going to come down to this, and of course they're trying to ice Garrett Saffold, but he is going to drill it down the middle, and Grand Rapids University has won their first game ever. I cannot believe that we just took down our rivals on the road, but like I said, we wore black for a reason, and this is the best moment of the season by far. I want you all to soak in how crazy of a game Zach Keys just had, and with all of that, he threw the ball to 9 different targets. We might be at the bottom of the division, but it's nice to see a win in the win column, and we're going to learn a lot about this team through the last 3 games and the off-season period. All of that's still coming up in this video, and of course we play Eastern Michigan next week, but we can't get too excited because we have to face Northern Illinois first, and as a first-year football program, I think we're going to struggle to beat them, but now we have our mojo and our confidence up. Zach Keys is playing like he wants to be the starter for the next few seasons. Look at that juke move from him, and maybe our rushing attack is starting to come together. Nico won't go anywhere still with his abysmal 2.1 yards per carry, but if you're going to isolate Martin Massey, we're going to take that out route every single time in this game. I feel like at this point all of the dots have really connected for us, but just when I say that, we're committing holding, and that's going to make it a lot harder to have a successful first drive, but we're going to look in Matt Land's direction, and he actually held on. I still want to give him a run at halfback sometime in the future, especially since Braden Nico struggles to get a yard for us, but we can't do that successfully until we have other receiving targets in here, but maybe not. Now that I think about it, last game we won without him, so I've adjusted the depth chart to make him the starter, and we're about to see what the 5'9" wide receiver can do at halfback for us. This switch could backfire, but I see Braden Nico's out there. We faked them out, and that's a touchdown. I've never run this play on NCAA football before, but this was one of the most beautiful ones we have ever seen, and the fact that everything's starting to come together for this team just makes me so happy. But as I'm saying that, we're giving up a huge play, and Northern Illinois is going to score on their first offensive snap. That is a tough pill to swallow, but I'm excited to be back out here on offense again, and it's weird to explain, but every so often whoever's in at running back just goes really slow. It leads to not gaining very many yards, but we're in a tie game here to start the second quarter, and what is that blocking? After watching it back, Beauchamp might never see the field again for us, and he's only a sophomore, but I would rather put a defensive tackle in there. Because of him, the Huskies are going to force us to a 3 and out, and there's no way that this punt goes where it needs to, which is why I'm so frustrated. Not being able to flip the field when we get stopped is a massive problem, and Gavin Williams is going to stiff arm us to the oblivion, and no one's making a tackle. They've had 2 plays plays and scored twice. I don't even know what to think, because just when our offense starts to figure it out, our defense looks rough, but Matt Land is going to take this handoff for 8. And I think we have found our new running back, because he could also catch the ball, so can you imagine him off a halfback screens? He's going to be able to take this one to about the 40. And it took him 5 carries to break this record. The great part about it is we can also pass when he's not out there, so we're going to move it. And I should have made this change earlier on in the season because we're cooking, but Northern Illinois gets the sack. And every single time that we seem to take a couple of steps forward, we take at least a step backwards. On 3rd and 1, I want to get our wide receiver in space since he is quick, but he's not going to get it. So we're going to go with the read option, which normally works for us, and Keys is going to keep it plus truck a guy. I don't know what it took for Zach Keys to turn this switch on, but he's been doing so much better. And on 3rd and goal, I would love to reach the end zone, but we're not going to. Hear me out though, we settled for a field goal against Central Michigan at the end of the half, so we're just playing it safe and doing the right thing. Hopefully the Huskies don't have any more breakaway plays, and that should have been intercepted, but instead it's going to take them to the 30. They do not deserve a field goal, but none of our guys can cover well, and the ball never lies. That's a doink. Once again, a solid first half for Grand Rapids, but something the Mastodons have struggled to do is carry that into the second half, so we'll see what happens, and don't tell me they're about to get another breakaway. This Husky offense might be the death of me, and on 3rd and 5, they went with a wide receiver screen underneath. So they've kept the chains moving, and I don't think there's much we can do in this situation besides just hope that we make a tackle on one of their wide receivers. On 2nd and 9, Rocky Lombardi is going to keep it on the quarterback draw for about 6, and we have got to hold them to a field goal. That would keep it within 1 possession, but we're not going to. There's so many things that we need to fix about this team, and I don't even know where to start, because every part of our defense seems to be weak, and we're going to go to Steve Winchester here. But no matter what happens on this drive, we're eventually going to have to get a defensive stop on Northern Illinois, and I'm a big fan of how we're moving the ball right now, but that run play didn't work again. On 3rd and short, I love to look at these out routes, and Carl Bunch was able to get this one to about midfield, but the tight end's a senior, and there's a lot of targets on this team we're not going to have next season. This is the first time we've tried to go deep, and of course that's when it's intercepted. Steve Winchester ran right by all of these guys early on in the season, but now they're not falling for it since they've seen it on film, and we can hope that we're able to get them off of the field, but most likely they're just going to pick things up, and there's no way he caught that. I would have been very upset, but at least we were able to force a 3 and out. Now we're going to take this return with Andrew Carty, our backup halfback, who is going to get to the 45, and I guess he's technically the 3rd stringer now that we have Matt Land in there, but he has been struggling recently, and I kind of miss having him at wide receiver even if he dropped a lot. The problem with putting someone like him there is he doesn't know how to block, so now we're on a 3rd and 19 where we have to try and go over top the defense again, but it's not going far enough. I knew that Zach Keys didn't have a strong enough arm to put this where it needed to be, but we attempted it anyway, and I think Northern Illinois is about to put us out of this game if they score on this drive, but it won't be over if they can only get a field goal. And on 3rd and 3, I usered everything exactly how it needed to be, but we don't have a quarterback spy. It would be wonderful if our defensive line could generate an ounce of pressure, but I feel like they won't, so I have to run commit instead, and that's how we've gotten them to a 3rd and goal where Southwright got in quick enough and they're not picking it up. I want to make it very clear that it's not over, because we have the ball only down by 14, but we have a long way to go, and I'm sure that the Huskies are about to bring a blitz in, so we're going to have to go to Steve Winchester immediately. I think we've seen a lot of development out of a lot of different players in this video performing much better, but seeing drops like that from Martin Massey just make me sad because I know we could catch him. Now it's 3rd and 10 where they went with man-to-man coverage, and that wasn't caught either. So the Huskies defense is low-key clamping us up, and this is where not having Matt Land out there hurts us, as we have to pick up this 4th and 10, and we're not going to do it. Another game and another loss, unfortunately, as they're going to get this first down and continue to get more. So you can see Andrew Luck's not happy about it, and we've come back down to earth this week against the Huskies. We couldn't stop Gavin Williams, and the second Zach Keys tried to force it deep, it didn't pan out well. I also think the Matt Land experiment at running back is over, because it obviously hurt all of these wide receivers' totals, and the press criticized the way Andrew Luck ran his plays. Our last MAC conference game is an in-state rivalry against Eastern Michigan, and if we want some of these guys to commit before the offseason, we need that to go well, but they're 8-2, so it's going to be an uphill battle. We've yet to have any bad weather in any of these, which stinks because I wanted to have at least one snow game, but that could still happen against Army in our last one, and we're going to open this one up by finding Carl Bunch for a 9-yard gain. We've gone back to letting Braden Nico take these handoffs because I realized it was the offensive line that was the issue, and I really want to utilize Matt Land as a wide receiver because he's the best one we have, and he's only a sophomore. All he needs is a good offseason where he learns how to catch the ball, and Eastern Michigan's defense might have gotten a big hit there and a sack on this play, but I am determined to score a touchdown on this first drive, so we're going to try to thread the needle, and it's dropped. All it took was one good punt return, and they've already gotten it down inside our red zone where we're going to try to stop their quarterback from picking up the first, and Austin Smith wasn't able to make it. Now here on 3rd and inches, they have some corner routes out there. He's trying to scramble, and nobody's over there to stop him. I feel like we have to start having a quarterback spy out there on every play since our defensive line doesn't get in any pressure, and it worked on that one, but now they're coming out in a run-heavy formation, and we are going to make the tackle. Here we go, 3rd and goal. Will Eastern Michigan pick it up, or will we get the stop? I'm already ready for it, and Jeremiah Wayne just set the school sack record with that hit. Holding them to 3 is a pretty big deal because we could match that on this possession, and we're going to go for the deep post to Matt Land, but he isn't catching it, and him and Zach Keys have to hook up here. I don't think this drive is going to go anywhere now because of that, but he is going to catch this wide receiver screen and get out of there. Let's go. That's to midfield. This is why we want to have Matt Land at wide receiver, because he can make plays after the catch, which is what he's good at, and that's a pretty solid ending to the first quarter, but I want to try that halfback pump draw play again, and it just doesn't work. We had one experience where it went super smooth, but we're never having it again, and I feel like we have to go for it on this 4th and 3 where we're getting it out to Nico, but he's not getting the first. I think it was the right move to go for it in that situation, especially against our rivals. We would have loved it if we picked it up. And let me know how much detail you want on each of these games in the future, because I can include less plays, but I'm just trying to find a format that works for making this a great Dynasty series, and we have to pick it. Junior Terrence Brackett rarely does something good, but when he does, he drops it. And I'm hoping he improves a lot throughout this offseason, because that would help our defense out a ton. We lost out on that cornerback to Iowa State, which was something we were really going to need. Now we're going to stop him short. But Eastern Michigan's not taking the field goal. They want to score against us, and I have a spy out there, but they're still picking it up. Our rivals are playing us just as aggressively as we're playing them. And I know I've said rivals a lot in this video, but I want to have a 4-way battle with all the Michigan MAC schools. All 4 of us are competing inside this division to be the best one and make the MAC championship. And no matter what, Eastern Michigan's going to make it this year, but we still have to beat them. We already took down Central, and that was a big result in itself, but Matt Land can't catch this. And I don't know what to think of him in this game. We're going to try to go for a deep play on this one, and he comes away with it. He's going to get to the 25, which means he just overtook Steve Winchester for school receiving yards in a season. That could change back and forth if we went up to Steve here, but there wasn't enough time for that to even happen. And on 2nd and 17, we got more man-to-man coverage, so we're going to have to roll out, make a throw, and it's missed. We have to at least get a field goal on them, and we're going to Matt Land over the middle where he makes a play on that ball. And I wasn't sure if he'd be able to come back to it, but I'm very thankful that he did, and now he's dropping it. He always does it just when I start to trust him. And on 3rd and 13, I can't expect us to pick this one up, but we're going to try to go to him underneath, and he isn't making it. We have a tough decision here, but I think the right move is taking our 3 and getting it within a possession, because now to start the second half, it doesn't seem like we're that out of the game if we're able to stop Austin Smith, and he fumbled the ball. Someone pick it up. Let's go. That is exactly why you take your 3, and you're not always going to have to play it so aggressively, because all of the momentum has swung in our favor, and I want to throw this one up to Matt Land, but that was probably not the right move. We haven't caught a single jump ball this season, which makes me extremely sad. And now it is 4th and 1 where we need to get this conversion, and it's going over to Land, but he drops the football again. They're in Wildcat, so we can safely run commit and just hope for the best, but they're still getting about 8. And on 3rd and 3, they've decided to opt with the pass where they have somebody over the middle, and I'm using it with Wayne, but we don't have the quarterback spy. So that would lead to them driving down the field and scoring a touchdown a few plays later, putting us down 17-3, and we're not going anywhere. No matter what Andrew Carty does, he can't get a kick return. And next year, I hope we have somebody on the roster that's quick enough to where they could actually pull it off. But all of these drops are starting to add up, and that wide receiver screen's not going anywhere. It's kind of crazy that Matt Land has over 100 receiving yards, and we only have 3 points on the board right now. But that's just been the type of game that we're playing, and we're going to have to keep going back in his direction where he comes away with this one as well. This is the best receiving game anybody's ever had for us, and it's taken a while for him to build up this type of chemistry with Zach Keys, but it's starting to pay off. Now we just need this 3rd and 5 to go our way, and we're going to have the drag to Martin Massey for the first. And if we can reach the end zone, we're going to have it back within a possession, but that throws off target. So now it is 3rd and 10, and Matt Land is going to catch this football as well, plus take it in. I don't know what he had before the game, but I hope he doesn't get drug tested, because there's something in his system, and it would be worth it if we're able to beat Eastern Michigan. But Samson Evans just broke multiple tackles, and he is going to be free. He's taking this one to the house to go back up 2 possessions. So all of our work there to score was for nothing, and we're going to try to go with the deep post to Matt Land just to see if he's able to pull it off, but that was always going to be a hard play to do. I do love this version of Zach Keys that we're seeing though, and we have another corner route open, but he missed him. So now it is 3rd and 10, and that is so unfortunate. We could have had a touchdown on that play itself, but look at Matt Land spinning out of there, and he's going to take this to the crib himself. What on earth is happening? This is why you watch until the end of this season, because you will see the games where we are witnessing some of the best development ever. And can you imagine if we were able to take down Eastern Michigan? Don't tell me that Swinton just cooked Brackett. I cannot believe it. He dropped a pick earlier on, and now he's given up a touchdown. So within seconds, we are losing again. We've hit him with the play action though, and there's no way that they just let Matt Land run right by him. That's that 86 speed paying off again. That is the wildest third quarter we've ever had, as it felt like we combined for 50 points, but in reality, it was only 42, and we have got to get our rivals' offense off of the field, but that's going to be so hard to do since they keep scoring like we do. It's definitely been a classic, but I want want to get the win, and they are going with a deep shot, which has to be intercepted. Come on. Derek Glasgow had it in his hands, and our defense needs to take care of business. That is so frustrating. We cannot let Eastern Michigan score on this drive, and Wayne is out there to make the tackle on Samson Evans, but he can't do it. Somebody finally did, though, and he was marked short at a 4th and 1, which means we have the ball back, and they're pressing Matt Land, who has been able to cook by this defense all day, but that is underthrown, and he still catches it. He breaks free. What on earth is Matt Land taking? I don't know what it is, but you cannot tell me that this is all natural. The same kid that has dropped slants all season has come up massively for us against our rivals, and it doesn't even feel right not having him out there on the field right now with the way he's playing. I'm sure he needs a breather, but we also have to finish this drive off, and on 3rd and 2, we're going to go with the wide receiver screen to him, but they were ready for it. However, we have been bailed out with a face mask, and I'm accepting that all day. Can you believe that we are in this one right now? Because I barely can. Eastern Michigan's 8 and 2, and this is our first year as a football program, but we have been giving them issues, and we are so close to pulling it off. We have to stop Smith from scrambling, and you know who comes up with that tackle. Terrence Wayne is the only guy that I trust on our defense, and by stopping them on 3rd and 14, we can get the ball back. They're just going to throw it to the flat. That's a tackle, and we have done it. Thank goodness. I don't know what to say because I was not expecting this, but I'm sure that they're going to try to shut down Matt Land, and we're trying to feed him as well, but it might not work, and we need this 3rd and 7 where we go back in his direction and he holds on. I don't know how many receiving yards he has right now, but it has to be something crazy. We're going to try to hit this corner route to Archie, and that's why you don't look in anybody else's direction. This is the Matt Land game, but he's not out there on this play, so we're going to have to take our halfback angle route to Braden Nico, and we're so close to kicking the field goal for the win, but we have to get a lot more yards, and that's going to be another 9. I don't know what our kicker's range is, but we only have one more timeout remaining, and that drop has left me speechless for a second, but we have to make sure we at least get the first, so it all stays alive, and then we have a slant to Matt, but he isn't getting open, so we might as well try to run it with Keys, who is going to get the first down, but he fumbled. No. Don't tell me that happened. Please tell me he somehow got a knee down. That is such a devastating ending to regulation, and we're going to be headed to overtime, but I thought we were about to get the win over Eastern Michigan. That is so unlucky, and we're starting out with the ball on offense, so the offensive shootout's going to continue if possible, but I feel like we just lost a ton of momentum, and I'm going to take it back to Matt Land, but now he's not coming up clutch. No matter what happens here, we cannot be held to a field goal. I think we have to go for it on 4th down, but the game is telling us that we can make it from here, and I don't want to trust our defense, but I also don't want to hand them a free win. On 1st and 10, it looks like they're going with a pass. There's 5 hitches out there, so I can't guard all of those, and we need to lock up. I see that route underneath. Now I'm going to follow that one. We just have to force a fumble. That would be big, and I'm literally sitting here biting my nails over an NCAA football game. 2nd and 3 now. We're shooting in that gap, and nobody's getting over there. Don't tell me he makes it, and that ending hurts my soul so bad. We fought our butts off to be competing with them, and I don't think Matt Land will ever have a game like that again, where all 371 receiving yards were for nothing. To make matters worse, a lot of the players that we want are on visit this week at other schools, so I knew we'd lose at least one of them, and we didn't get Jason Kenny. We targeted a lot of cornerbacks, but JUCO 1-star Jeff Davis was the only one we could pull in, and now we don't have a lead on either Brett Patterson or Eric Sellers, so we might not get those guys either. Sure enough, in the last week, Eric Sellers committed to Central Michigan over us, and I can't blame him because we finished at the bottom of our division in the MAC. We do have one final game to end the season, and players like Scott Thomas and Eric Livingston are on a visit for this one, but it's being played at Lincoln Financial Field. The team I replaced with this created team was Navy, so I think we're locked into this, and I just realized that the game thinks that we are in the Army-Navy game. If anyone knows how to remove this for future seasons, that would be awesome because it's fine to play them as like a one-time thing, but Grand Rapids wouldn't be playing Army consistently, and let's just say that if we can't win this, the only thing to look forward to afterwards is going to be the off-season, where we're all going to get a pretty good idea of what our team's going to be like next year, and come on, Army's rushing attack's going to be hard to stop, and I'm not sure what we're going to do about a starting quarterback because Zach Keys could be it, but we also have freshman Ryan Pace, who I was super excited to land, and on this 3rd down, we're not getting it. It's probably going to be a rough ending to the season, just judging by how Army plays and what they've done to me in previous videos I've done, but we've pinned them inside the 5-yard line, and no one's making a tackle on 33. Are you kidding me? This fat fullback is going to juke out multiple of our players, and the only one that might be able to catch him is Jeremiah Wayne, who does it in the end, but we're just not able to keep up with them. Their rushing attack is too good. Come on, boys, you're embarrassing yourselves. I think losing the way that we did to Eastern Michigan has murdered all team morale, and all we're playing for is to improve and get ready for next season, but this is bad. Our offensive line looks lost out there, and I see another free rusher getting in, so it's 3rd and 29 where we have to avoid taking the safety, but we're cooked. I mean, after punting it back to them, Army's driven down the field, and they're about to go up 21-0 unless we can get a sack, and of course their quarterback missed the throw, but they have 203 total yards to our 12, and we have to cap this drive off with a touchdown where Martin Macy is wide open in the end zone. From that point, Army would go on to score the next 10, so there's not much hope left for us, but we are trying to pull off the comeback. And I'm ready for the offseason, but if we're able to pick up another win against them, we have to try. The training results are going to be a big deal to see how everybody improved, and now that it's 4th and 7, if we don't convert this, it's going to be over. We're going over to Steve Winchester though, and he gets the first. Like I said, it's not likely, but a comeback could be on the table, and I love how much Matt Land's improved in these final games, but our defense has not, and on this 3rd and 7, I don't see anything getting open. Daly has plenty of time back there though, and come on, you got to intercept this one. I don't think Terrence Brackett caught a pick all season, and Army wants to end the game by going for it on 4th and 7. I'm trying to bait them into it, and they're going to throw it to the flat. Brackett couldn't get over there in time, so I think you can imagine that from this point forward, there's not much we can do, and we have ended our season at 1-11. It was a rough first year as a program, but that one win over Central Michigan made it all worth it, and the MAC Conference Championship is going to be between Eastern Michigan and Bowling Green. Hopefully one day we'll be at Ford Field playing in this game, but for the time being, we just have to watch as Taryn Keith terrorized the Eastern Michigan defense, and Blake Corum was who won the Heisman. As for the playoffs starting next season, it'll turn into a 12-team one, but in this world, Florida State and Utah made the national championship, and it seems like the Seminoles are going to win because Utah is down by 3 with 19 seconds remaining, but they just came down with a big catch, and all they need is a field goal to send it to overtime, so we'll see what Cam Rising can do. He's thrown it deep, but it's knocked down, and it's crazy how much a difference him being healthy has made for this Utes team. Now he's thrown up a prayer, which is going to be caught in the end zone, and Utah just won the national championship like that. That's one of the craziest endings that I've ever seen, but if anything, it tells me that this file is going to be a ton of fun, and when it comes to comparing quarterbacks, Zach Keys outperformed Terrence Dogan as he didn't turn the ball over as much. There's a chance that the sophomore could be starting for us, and I wish we could compare quarterback rushing yards, but they took so many sacks. As for receiving, one game made up a big chunk of Matt Land's yards, and I'm so glad senior Kevin Pena is graduating because he gave up 13 sacks. As for our defense, our main player had to be Jermaine Wayne, but we also had a lot of other people make contributions like left tackle Todd Augustine. The school record books have also been set up as all of these new records have come in from something new that happened this season, and we'll see who breaks them in the future, but for now, it's time to see what players are leaving, and I'm going to be using the Dynasty tool for that and player progression, but you're going to see a lot of impact players gone, and the ones I want to highlight are Terrence Dogan, wide receiver Zach Archie, strong safety Scooby Duckworth, who had a sick name, but he wasn't that good, wide receiver Martin Macy, and backup tight end Carl Bunch. Obviously, nobody got drafted from our team, but we could have some players coming in through transfer requests, and it's only one, but I will take it. Jackson McGowan from LSU is going to have to sit out a year before he plays for us, but he's a 74 overall, and we can redshirt him, so that'll greatly help our team, and now I have some tough decisions to make. Obviously, athlete Ben Fowler is the priority, so I'm dumping 4.5K points in him to make sure Eastern Michigan doesn't get him, but now I have to decide between these 4 prospects for which one I want to get, and I think athlete Scott Thomas would help us a ton, while we also could use someone like Eric Livingston. I can hope that 2,000 would be enough to get both of them, and then after using Andrew Luck's upgrade to get even more points, we can dump the rest into Brett Patterson and just give up on David Rogers, but we'll see how that pans out for us, and it's about to pop up where we got 3 commits, so I'm stoked because we got Ben Fowler, but we didn't get David Rogers or Brett Patterson. We were literally 135 points off, but at the end of the day, I'm happy because we signed the 67th best class, and I know our top 4 guys are all JUCOs, but they're going to make a major difference for the next 2 seasons. This entire recruiting class has filled up position changes as you have to scroll quite a bit to find some of the players that were on our roster from last year, and Ben Fowler has to play on both sides of the ball for us because he's an 81 overall corner, but we're going to move him to halfback to start out, and that means that athlete Scott Thomas has to be a wide receiver, while Carlos Castillo is also one just to help us out. Freshman Kelvin Hackett goes to tight end, which is also much needed, and now it's time for training results where we're going to see if Zach Keys can jump Ryan Pace, but I have to mention how proud I am of Andrew Luck for recruiting an entire offensive line because he knows the struggles of having a bad one. Alright, using the Dynasty tool, we're about to see some realistic off-season progression, and I'm expecting to see some negatives since we're such a low overall school, but I'm seeing a ton of positives instead. Braden Nico only went up 2, but we also had a +8 at halfback, and I swear Matt Land should have gotten better than this. By the time he can play, Jackson McGowan's going to be a monster, and Jeremiah Wayne should have improved more than to a 63. Our corners are definitely rough, but maybe Terrence Brackett got some catching, and I just noticed we got a new offensive and defensive coordinator. I think we pass the ball better than we run, so we're going to be better off putting all of this stuff into throwing stats and even pass blocking as well. While on the defensive side of things, I'm mainly worried about pass rush, but coverage could also be very nice and some tackling. With that being said though, we've reached the end of season 1, and let me know in the comments if you think we should start Zach Keys or freshman Ryan Pace. Also, if you made it this far, I'd really appreciate if you dropped a like and gave me some feedback in the comments on how you like this new series, but if you want some more content for me to watch, those options are also on my left and right.